Stitches, welcome back to my channel, or if it's your first time, welcome. I'm so excited to get to know you. So today we're doing a shop my stash. Get ready with me. This is the look. And there's another lip option in the tutorial, so if you're interested in how to achieve this, Y2K accurate minus the goth lip style look, keep watching. And if this is your sort of thing and you're into art and makeup, especially colorful makeup, like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell so you can find out so you can hear about it when I post. All right, love you so hard. I'll see you in the tutorial. What's up, Stitches? We're going to do a more neutral dramatic smoky eye with my newest palette, the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Beauty Below. And I know you've probably seen so many reviews on this, but oh my god, the artwork. Anyway, I think I'm going to be sticking more with this column for today, and we're going to do two lip options. I'm going to try to remember, and this time I'm going to get it together enough to put false eyelashes on. Now, as you can see, I haven't primed the whole lid yet. I'm going to go into, I always use the PLOUISE, I have a box full of stuff here. I always use the PLOUISE cosmetic base in Rumor 01, and that's what went on the top half by my brow bone, and now I'm going to go in with the basic black. And taking that same brush I used before, and then we're going to do something a little extra later, but I'll show you when we get there. And we're just going to do a little squirty squirt onto the brush. Sometimes I do this on the back of my hand and then pick it up later, but I'm not feeling like having all that mess on the back of my hand at this very moment. And this part frustrates the crap out of me, so I cannot talk while I am actively blending. All right. So that just happened. And to make sure it's in the space I want, I'm gonna look up, and yeah, I have surprisingly hooded lids. And then I'm gonna take a clean brush, a clean blending brush like this, and I'm gonna floof that around, kind of pre-blend it in with the top. And this doesn't have to be perfect. It's gonna get covered up with a whole bunch of powders. I'm using a very light touch. I am not going in there hard. If you have a hard time blending, here's a little trick, because it really is a lot about pressure sometimes. Move your hand back on the brush, and that'll kind of force you to relinquish some control and get more of an airbrush effect. Okay, so now I've got blended eyeshadow. Okay, so I think I want this to, yeah, I think I'm gonna go in with the dark blackish brown first, called Entrapment, on a doe foot fluffy contour brush. And I'm gonna go in fairly lightly, and I'm gonna use this big ass mirror that it came with and press. And that's the thing, when you're first starting out, you don't immediately go onto a wet base and start swirling around. You press, especially with these very highly pigmented shadows. And I'm convinced that that's why the ABH subculture pressed pigment palette was so controversial, is that a lot of people were just used to shadows that weren't as highly pigmented. As my friend and I used this up, I bought it for her a little bit after it came out, because we just loved the color story and were apprehensive, and I finally just bought it for her, and we had no problems. I think back then we didn't know how to use pigment very well, and I think the reason I had such an easy time with that palette was because I already struggled with the Inglot formula. So now that dark messiness is laid down, I'm going to go into Abduction. It's this mid-tone khaki olive brown shade on a fluffy blending brush, and I'm going to press again. And see, this is what happens when you don't press and you just start swirling on a wet base. You get a streak. It becomes patchy. And I'm going right on top of where I blended that dark color, and I'm pressing. And now that I've kind of pressed upward and diffused it a bit, now I can go around and start swirling and brushing. All right, I'm pleased with that. All right, so now that that's happened, because I'm gonna put a high impact shimmer shade all over the lid, I'm going in with the NYX glitter primer on the side that has that black base. Sometimes I mix them together, but I'm not feeling the need for that at this very moment. And I want to keep that concentrated on the mobile lid today. I'm not going up on the brow bone. Now that my mobile lid is primed, oh my gosh, do I want to go in with that one or that one? I want to go in with that one. One of these days, maybe with a flat filbert cut, one of these days, I'm probably going to have to just buy some black eye safe glitter. And I have to be careful because the shimmers in this palette are quite soft. I am so pleased with that. Oh my god. I can't with the shimmers in these. They are so high impact. It's delicious. Now going in with a smaller filbert cut brush. I'm going into that blackish chartreuse. And packing that on to the center of the mobile lid. And what this does is just give it a little tiny bit more dimension, make my eye look more like an orb instead of a flat space. All right, so I am loving that so far. For the inner corner highlight, I'm going into the Tribe by Juvia's. It's been discontinued, but I'm going into that one right there. And I swear that is one of my most used and abused shimmer shadows. I rely on it so much because look at that. All right, now because I got a little too far in between, I'm gonna take this fluffy brush and a palette that I don't really break out a whole lot except to do my complexion stuff, the Warrior by Juvia's, and I am going into the white shade to kind of pull my eyes apart a little bit. I have very hooded eyelids and my eyes are quite close together, so I can look sleepy and cross-eyed real quick when I am not careful, and I am not always careful, but there are always ways to fix it. Now, I'm not even going to bother cleaning up this part, and we are not doing winged liner today. I am going under there with this black eyeshadow base, very carefully. Wish me luck. This is so 1980s Y2K accurate. Very similar to the smoky eye that the makeup artist in my very first photo shoot ever did on me. It's not even, it is hilarious. It is actually hilarious. And before I go in too hard with blending that out, I'm gonna hold on. Sorry, my little had a question. She's so cute. Oh my gosh, she loves makeup. She loves when I do makeup. She calls it bringing the colors. I do my makeup and she goes, Mama, you bring it colors? Oh, so pretty. So guess what we always tell her? We always tell her how pretty and beautiful and smart she is. So now that's what she tells everybody. She tells everybody that they're pretty and beautiful and smart. I don't do a lot of things right. I don't do everything right as a parent, but once in a while I get it kind of okay-ish. So now I'm just gonna keep trying to find clean fingers and tap and blur. So every stage that you spend blending makes the next step easier. When you're doing a dramatic smoky eye and it's not going the way you want, it's because you got sloppy on a step. It is 100% a user error thing, and I am not above that. Here we go. Back in with, gonna take this smaller fluffy blending brush and go back in with that with Entrapment. But I'm gonna focus it mostly on the outer corner. Good gravy, what a fun palette. And then see if I can, I want a dense, short, fluffy brush like that, and I'm gonna go back in with Cursed. Try to get that underneath my eyelashes. And press. I'll be honest, I don't like this brush, but it's pokey and uncomfortable, but it does a good job. Go in with, back in with Trance as well on the same brush. Get that right on the center. That's so cool, it looks like I'm crying oil slick tears. Going back with Coral, there she is. Ha. Awesome. Now, going with a thick chubby brush. Back and forth. Now hold on, let me do some mascara. Okay, so for those of you who don't know how to deal with a fresh pair of lashes, or maybe tried to do some fake lashes and found that it didn't really work out for you and think that maybe it's not for you, I totally get it. So usually it's because it's fresh, and especially with vegan lashes, they say silk, but it's actually plastic. So you're going to be dealing with a really hard band. Now what I always do is I take a makeup brush, and there's always going to be a little bit of adhesive on it, and I start pressing it just around the makeup brush to kind of pre-break it in. You know, it's like that with pants, it's like that with shoes, and especially around the ends, I will be really aggressive with it. And then here's the smallest part down here. I'm going to measure that on my eyelid. Let me get a mirror here. And there's no glue on it yet, but as you can see, these are too big for me. So I'm gonna need that much gone, and I always take it off from the longer end, not the shorter end, and I save these for little half lashes or little flares because that is still valuable to me. A lot of times I don't feel like wearing a long eyelash, but I feel like my eye kind of got lost in the look because it's so small, and sometimes I don't feel like the eyeliner and the mascara are quite enough. Sometimes I don't care, and there's no continuity with this. This is all just vibes and feelings, nothing really physical or real. It's usually all in your head. And then I'll take the other one, I'll line it up. After beating up the eyelashes, just line them up like that, and snippy snippy. And I am very pleased with what I have left, so I'm going to glue these and I'll be right back. Okay, I did the lashes, and now I'm going to go in with the JUVIA'S Place Saharan Blush Volume 2 palette and go into that plum colored blush, because I think it would complement the subtle bits of green going on, and I thought that, and I was totally right. That's gorgeous. So you probably noticed something in I don't put eyeliner on my waterline. I've got very sensitive eyes, and I tried for so long with mascara and the waterline thing, and finally one day I was like, all that ever happens is it makes my eyes tear, and the tears travel upward for some reason and ruins the whole look. So one day I decided I could be good without it, and I was right. So I don't do waterline stuff. I don't put mascara on my bottom lashes. It's not for me. Now, the 2 lip option. Okay. Now, the 2 lip options that I promised. The first thing that we're always going to want to do with something like this is pale lips, and I don't have my one nude lipstick shade. Let me go get it really quick. Okay, here's my pale lipstick option. It's Cookie by ColourPop Cosmetics. It's okay. And like, you know, a 1960s Y2K concealer moment, concealer lips moment. Oh my gosh, Y2K concealer lip, because that's my daughter. She's a dinosaur. Hold on. We were all about like doing that mod 1960s thing, and I'm not into it. And my daughter is still a dinosaur. Rawr.
I'm a dinosaur.
Yes, you are.
I'm a dragon.
You can be anything you want to be, baby. So what I like is, I'm going to take Spellcaster from Necromancy Cosmetica.
Right.
And I quite like that, but we're not done yet. We are going to take that first brush and go into Cursed. And then I'm gonna take this brush, and I go in with brushes to kind of keep the eyeshadows clean, and what you didn't see was me flipping that brush around a bunch of times so that I don't hit it with the same part that touched my mouth over and over again. But I'm going into Trans, that greenish shade, and that is what I like. All right, so here's the finished look. Roar! My feelings. Me too! And that's the finished look. Thank you for sticking with me. If this is the kind of thing you like, give me a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you can get notifications. I try to post as often as possible. I can't quite give you a set schedule at the moment, but I do try to post quite often. And share if you think you know anybody else who would like this kind of stuff. All right, bye, Stitches. I love you so hard.